You've got a lot of activist judges, probably more than ever. Something's amiss. I think we've got to address it. The Federal Department of Education has not served the people well.
Let's watch MAGA tool Mike Johnson spewing the normal propagandist rhetoric on Fox News to little to no pushback, surprisingly. So take a moment, hit the like button, really helps the channel grow. It gets the video out there. It's free and we really appreciate it. So let's get into the takedown and get ready to debunk some absolute lies.
You've got a lot of activist judges, probably more than ever. And we were looking at the statistics, and the White House has pointed this out. 62%, for example, of the federal injunctions that have been handed down in the last century were handed down against President Trump. And 92% of those were done by partisan Democrat-appointed judges. So something's amiss. I think we've got to address it.
Activist judges who believe in things like due process and free speech. How scary. Also to note, these aren't partisan anti-Trump judges as he'd like to pretend. For instance, the radical left lunatic judge, in Trump's words on social media, who blocked his deportations without due process, was a Bush nominee that was confirmed 96-0 in the Senate, which means completely supported by both parties. He also ruled to investigate Hillary for the emails and in Trump's favor regarding IRS documents in his first term. So hardly partisan. He's ruled more with conservatives, if anything. But when something doesn't go your way, it's of course easier to pretend it's all rigged against you than to come to terms with the fact your party's president doesn't value the Constitution or hasn't read the Constitution. Both are equally likely outcomes.
We're building muscle memory to deliver for the people and to deliver the America First agenda. We promised them that we would on the campaign trail last year. They gave us a mandate, the highest popular vote we've ever had for House Republicans, 74.8 million votes. President Trump, as you know, got 77 million, and we are working in tandem with the White House, with our Senate counterparts, the Republican majority in the Senate, to deliver for the people and get this done. And yeah, we've got some big wins on the board, much more hard work ahead of us, but I'm absolutely convinced we're going to deliver, Trey.
MAGA logic literally relies on you not critically thinking about any of it. If Trump got a mandate because he's elected, don't elected judges then have a mandate as well? Aren't they just doing the will of their people and whatever they do, even if they didn't mention it on the campaign trail, like Trump with all the things he's doing? Also, wouldn't elected Democrats have a mandate to reflect the will of their voters, which would be like to protect Medicaid, to protect Social Security, and these other crucial social programs? So then why are you calling Democrats corrupt or whatever it may be instead of mentioning their mandate and how they're going with their mandate? Also, what are the wins that you've brought the American people? So far, inflation is up. Trump is threatening allies like Canada and Greenland. Veterans are being laid off from the federal government. Israel is breaking a ceasefire in front of our eyes, and Trump isn't doing anything about it. And he's also threatening to use U.S. troops to annex Gaza, if anything. Social programs are at risk, but like, it's a win because trans women can't play badminton or what?
And frankly, delivering upon a big principle that we've all been advancing for a long, long time. The Federal Department of Education has not served the people well. I mean, just look at the results. As President Trump points out rightfully all the time, the test scores are at historic lows while the spending levels are at historic highs. It is not a good return on investment. So we believe as conservatives, you know, you and I, all of us believe that education is best handled by parents and teachers at the low level, at the local level, local and state. They're the ones that should be making these big decisions, not federal mandates coming from bureaucrats in Washington. And so President Trump is delivering on that idea, that principle, and that promise. And I think it's going to be a good thing for the country overall.
He's, of course, lying here. We went through this multiple times. I've written an article about this. First link in my description if you want to read what the Department of Education actually does. But it has nothing to do with curriculum. That's already handled at the state level, which is literally the issue with it. Republican states spend less per pupil. They care less about standards. They have more private and charter schools that aren't regulated in their curriculum and are generally poorer. So the socioeconomic status, which has the most to do with testing scores, these all contribute to lower testing scores. However, the Department of Education in its main function is to ensure, one, that low-income students have access not just to education, but the same resources in education as everyone else, that, hey, just because your parents can't afford that laptop, you're still going to get a laptop if that's what all the other students are getting, and that they're guaranteed a quality education, and that disabled people are also guaranteed a quality education. And these sick-minded, entitled douchebags want to essentially steal candy from the baby to give it to the billionaires. You can't write cartoon villainy at this level.